Hello guys, welcome to my channel. We are reading The Little Women. We are actually on part 7, chapter 7, and I'm just going to start reading this and see how fast we get this book done. Chapter 7, Amy's Valley of Humiliation. "That boy is a perfect cyclops, isn't he?" said Amy, one day as Laurie chattered by on horseback. "Oh my goodness, that little goose means a centaur, and she called him the Cyclops," exclaimed Joe with a burst of laughter. You needn't not be rude. It's only a lapse of leggy, as Mr. Davis says," retorted Amy, finishing Joe with her Latin. "I just wish I had a little of money Laurie spent on that horse." "Why?" asked Meg. "I needed it so much. I'm dreadfully in debt, and it won't be my turn to have the rage money for a month." "In debt? Amy, what do you mean?" "Why, I owe at least a dozen pickled limes." "Tell me about it. Are limes the fashion now? I used to be pricky bits of rubber to make balls." And Maggie tried to keep her contents. Amy looked so grave and important. "Why, you see, the girls are always buying them, and unless you want to be thought mean, you might do it too. If one girl likes another, she gives her a lime. If she's mad with her, she eats one before her face. They treat by turns. I've had ever so many. Why haven't returned them?" "How much will restore your credit?" asked Meg, taking out her purse. "A quarter would more than do it. Here's the money. Make it last as long as you can, for it isn't very plentiful, you know." "Oh, thank you. I'll have a grand feast, for I haven't tasted a lime for this week." I felt delicate about taking any, as I couldn't return them. Next day, Amy was rather late at school, but could not resist the temptation of displaying a moist brown paper parcel before she consigned it to the inmost recesses of her desk. During the next few minutes, the rumor that Amy's March had got 24 delicious limes. She ate one on the way. She was going to treat circulated through her set, and the attentions of her friend became quite overwhelming. Kate Brown invited her to her next party on the spot. Mary Kingsley insisted on lending her watch till recess, and Jenny Snow, satirical young lady who had basely twitted Amy upon her limeless state, properly buried applying sums. But Amy had not forgotten Miss Snow's cutting remarks about some persons whose noses were not too flat to smell other people's limes, and she instantly crushed that Snow girl's hopes by the withering telegram. "You needed to be so polite all of a sudden, for you won't get any." A distinguished personage happened to visit the school that morning, and Amy's beautifully drawn maps received prize, which honor of her foe rankled in the soul of Miss Snow, and caused Miss March to assume the airs of the stagiest young peacock. But alas, pride does before a fall, and the revengeful Snow turned the tables with disastrous success. No sooner had the guest bowed himself out than Jenny, under pretense of asking an important question, informed Mr. Davis, the teacher, that Amy March had pickled limes in her desk. Now Mr. Davis had declared limes a contraband item, and vowed to ferule the first person who was found breaking the law. Mr. Davis had evidently taken his coffee too strong that morning. There was an east wind which always affected the Nergia of his pupils and had not done him the credit which he felt he deserved. The word limes was like fire to powder. His yellow face flushed, and he rapped on his desk with an energy which made Jenny skip to her seat with unusual rapidity. Young ladies, attention, if you please. At the stern order of Buzz ceased. The 50 pairs of blue, black, gray, and brown eyes were obediently fixed upon his awful countenance. Miss March, come to my desk. Amy rose to comply with outward composure, but a secret fear opposed her, for the limes weighed upon her conscience. Bring with you the limes you have in your desk, was the unexpected command. Don't take all, whispered her neighbor, a young lady lad of great presence of mind. Amy hesitantly shook out a half a dozen and laid the rest down before Mr. Davis. Is that all? Not quite, snickered Amy. Bring the rest immediately. With a despairing glance at her set, she obeyed. You are sure there is no more? I never lie, sir. So, I see. Take these disgusting things 2 by 2 and throw them out the window. Scarlet with shame and anger, Amy went to the fro 12 mortal times, and as each doomed couple, looking oh so plump and juicy, fell for her reglance hands, of shout from the street completed an anguish of the girls, for it told them that their feast was being exclated over by the little Irish children who were their sworn foes. This was too much. All flashed indignant glances at inexorable Davis, and one passionate lime lover bursted into tears. As Amy returned from her last trip, Mr. Davis gave a portionless hem and said, Young ladies, you remember what I said to you a week ago. I never allow my rules to infringed, and I never break my word. Miss March, hold out your hand. Amy started and put both hands behind her, turning on him an immorally look. She was rather a favorite with old Davis, and it's my private privilege that he would have broken his word if indigenous of one irresponsible young lady that had not found vent in a hiss. Your hand, Miss March, was the only answer her mute apply received, and too proud to cry or beseech, Amy set her teeth, threw back her head diffidently, and bore without flinching several tingly bows on her little palms. They were flinching several tingly bows on her. Oh my gosh, what the heck? They were neither many nor heavy, but that made no difference to her. For the first time in her life, she had been struck, and the disgrace in her eyes was as deep as he had knocked her down. You will now stand on the platform till recess, said Mr. Davis. That was dreadful. It would have been bad enough to go to her seat and see the pitiful faces of her friends, but to face the whole school with the shame fresh upon her seemed impossible, and for the second she felt as if she could only drop down and break her heart with crying. A bitter sense of wrong and the thought of Jenny Snow helped her bear it, and taking the obnoxious place, she fixed her eyes on the stove funnel and stood there so motionless and white that the girls found it very hard to study with the pathetic little figure before them. During the 15 minutes that followed, the proud and sensitive little girl suffered a shame and pain which never forgot. The smart of her hand and the ache of her heart were forgotten in the sting of the thought, I shall have tell at home, and they will so be disappointed in me. The 15 minutes seemed an hour, but they came to at the end at last. The word recess had never seemed welcome to her before. "You can go, Miss March," said Mr. Davis, looking as he felt uncomfortable. He did not soon forget the reproachful look Amy gave him as she went, without a word to anyone, straight into the anteroom, snatched her things, and left the place forever. And she passionately declared to herself she was in the sad state when she got home, and when the older girls arrived some time later, the indigenous meeting was held at once. Miss March did not say much, but looked disturbed and comforted her afflicted little daughter in the tenderest manner. Meg bathed an insulted hand with glycerin and tears. Beth felt that even her beloved kittens would fail as a balm for griefs like this, and Joe wrathfully proposed that Mr. Davis be arrested without delay, while Hannah shook her fist at that villain and pounded potatoes for dinner as she had him under her pestle. No notice was taken by Amy's flight except by her mates, but the sharp-eyed demociously discovered that Mr. Davis was quite beginning in the afternoon. Also unusually nervous just before school closed, Jo appeared wearing a grim expression as she stalked up to the desk and delivered a letter from her mother, then collected Amy's property and departed, carefully scraping the mud from her boots on the doormat. "Yes, you can have a vacation from school, but I want you to study a little every day with Beth," said Miss March. That evening, "I don't approve the corporal punishment, especially for girls. I dislike Mr. March's manner of teaching. I don't think the girls you associated with are doing you any good. So I shall ask your father advice before I send you anywhere else." "That's good. I wish all the girls would leave the spoil his old school. That's perfectly maddening to think that those of the lovely time," sighed Amy, with the air of martyrdom. "I am not sorry you lost them, for you broke the rules and deserve some punishment for disobedience," was the severe reply, with rather disappointed the young lady, who expected nothing but sympathy. "Do you mean you are glad I was disgraced before the whole school?" cried Amy. "I should not have chosen that way to mending the faults," replied her mother. "But I'm not sure that it won't do you more good than a milder method. You are getting to be rather conservative, my dear, and it is quite time you set about the correcting it. You have a good many gifts and virtues, but there is no need to parading them, for consent consent spoils the finest genius. There is not much danger that really talent or goodness will be overlooked long, even if it is the consciousness of possessing and using it well should satisfy one with the great charm of all power of modesty. So it is," cried Laurie, who was playing chess in the corner with Joe. "I knew a girl once who had a really remarkable talent for music, and she didn't know it. Never guessed what sweet little things she composed when she was alone, and wouldn't have believed it if any one had told her. I wish I'd known that nice girl. Maybe she would have helped me. I'm so stupid," said Beth, who stood beside him listening eagerly. "You do know her. She helps you better than anyone else could," answered Laurie, looking at her with such mischievous meaning in his merry black eyes that Beth suddenly turned very red and hid her face in the sofa cushion, quite overcome by such an unexpected discovery. Joe let Laurie win the game to pay for that praise of her Beth, who couldn't be prevailed upon the play for them after her compliment. So Laurie did his best and sung delightfully, being the particularly lively humor, for to the marches, he seldom showed a moody side of his character. When he was gone, Amy, who had been pensive all that evening, said suddenly, as if busy over some new idea, "Is Laurie an accomplished boy?" "Yes. He has an excited education and has talent. He will make a fine man, if not spoilt by petty," replied her mother. "And he isn't conceited, is he?" asked Amy. "Not in at least. That is why he is so charming. We like him so much. I see. It's nice to have accomplishments, be elegant, but not to show off or get perked up," said Amy thoughtfully. "These things are always seem to felt in the person's manner and conversation if modestly used, but it is not necessary to display any of them," said Miss March, "any more than it's proper to wear all your bonnets and gowns and ribbons at once, that folks may know you got them," added Joe. And the lecture ended in a laugh. And that is the end of chapter 7. I will see you guys in chapter 8. Have a good day, guys.